Hi my dear students. Today in our session we are going to discuss about the reproduction chapter, scientists and their observations. So in our chapter reproduction we have 11 scientists and 9 observations are there by them. So if you see first Wilco, who is Wilco? He is the scientist who gave a phrase called as omnicellula decellula. What he said? Omnicellula decellula. What is the meaning of omnicellula and decellula? Is nothing but all the cells are arising from the pre-existed cells. Is nothing but all the new cells are arising from the old one. Is nothing but old cells only. So he explained about that. Next, Robert Remak. So Robert Remak, he published a book on cell division. So he observed the cell division, how the divisions are going on, and he wrote a book on this, and he published a book on cell division. Next, Walter Fleming. He examined many kinds of animals and also plants. Okay, na? And stated the cell division. He examined animal cells plus plant cells also, right? And stated that cell division explained by him. Next, Wilhelm Rooks. Wilhelm Rooks is the scientist who proposed chromosomes carried a different set of heritable elements. So, heritable elements by chromosomes. Okay. Next, Gregor John Mendel. Gregor John Mendel observed the role of chromosomes in carrying heritable material. So he said that chromosomes they are carrying heritable elements. But here Gregor John Mendel, he is the father of genetics, already you know. Next, he observed that the role of chromosomes in carrying heritable material. Next, August Weismann is also hypothesized that individuals of same species have same number of chromosomes. Individuals of same species have same number of chromosomes. Nothing but the number of chromosomes are constant in each successive generation. From previous to this, number of chromosomes are not going to change. Next, Theodore Boveri. So he confirmed the meiotic division was confirmed by Mr. Theodore Boveri. Next, James Watson and Francis Crick. They determined the structure of DNA. What is DNA? Deoxyribonucleic acid. Next, Johnson and Portura. Portura is our Indian scientist. Okay, right. So they both combinedly explained about the interphase, G1 phase, S phase, and G2 phase. Okay, so they explained about the interphase, G1, S, and G2 phases. So this is about your reproduction chapter, scientists and their observations. In 7th chapter, what is 7th chapter? Co-ordination in life process. In this chapter, we have two scientists. One, Mr. Ivan Pavlov, and the second one, Mr. Dr. Beaumont. So Dr. Beaumont was there in the annexure. So first, if you see Ivan Pavlov is the scientist who observed the conditioning in dog. So in our lesson, that is in 9th class, but in our 10th class chapter, what we have, Ivan Pavlov observed that even thought of the food also makes the human beings to get water in their mouth. So that is about Ivan Pavlov. Next, Dr. Beaumont. He was the army doctor and he draw the fluids from the stomach for testing, right? Next, if you see 8th chapter, what is the 8th chapter? Heredity and evolution. So 8th chapter. In this 8th chapter, I observed 7 scientists, okay, and 9 observations. What are they? One check out. Mr. Gregor John Mendel. Gregor John Mendel is the father of genetics. Why? Because he conducted experiments on pea plants, and he only the first person who proved that how the characters are carried from parents to progeny. So that is why he is the father of genetics, right? He selected pea plant for his experiments, already below that. Next, if you see Rosalind Franklin, Francis Crick, James Watson, and Wilkins. See, these 4 combinedly determined the structure of DNA. Structure of DNA in the year 1953. Right? Who are they? Rosalind Franklin, Francis Crick, James Watson, and Wilkins, and they got Nobel Prize also for their discovery. What is DNA? Deoxyribonucleic acid. Next, Walter Sutton and Thomas Hunt Morgan. Walter Sutton and Thomas Hunt Morgan. They both are combinedly observed the sex chromosomes in Drosophila melanogaster. What they observed? Sex chromosomes. Where they observed? Drosophila melanogaster. What is this Drosophila melanogaster? Fruit fly, common fruit fly. They observe the sex chromosomes, right? Next, if you see Charles Darwin, who is that the 4th person? Charles Darwin. So, what is the observation of Charles Darwin? He observed that origin of a species. So, when he voyaged to HMS Beagle, voyaged to Gallipoli Islands in a ship. So, while he is voyaged, he observed the flora and fauna in Gallipoli Islands, and he wrote a book that is called Origin of a Species based on the natural selection. He only proposed the natural selection theory. Who is that? Charles Darwin. What I mean by natural selection? Nature only preserve the organisms in the nature. Why? Because which is fittest to the nature, that is only going to survive. Whether it is not suitable for them, it is going to get eliminated. Right? Next, Charles Lyell. Charles Lyell. Who is the Charles Lyell? He is also a scientist, and he observed the principles of geology. He wrote a theory called Principles of Geology. What is this principles of geology? According to him, the organisms are getting changes in their body in a uniform motion. Organisms are getting changes in their body in a uniform motion. Next, August Weismann. August Weismann. So, what is August Weismann? August Weismann is a scientist who proved that Lamarckism is wrong. What is that? Lamarckism is wrong. What is Lamarck? Lamarckism. Jean-Baptiste Lamarck. Lamarck said, what he said? Okay. Lamarck, he proposed a theory. What theory? Bodily changes are going to carry to the next generations. He thought that deer and giraffe both are same in history, but whenever the starvation, lack of food takes place on the earth, deer used to stretch its neck and forelimbs to reach the higher branches leaves. So by that time what happened? They got some changes in their body. So due to that, the deer became as a giraffe. Who thought it? Mr. Lamarck. But Lamarckism is wrong. proved by Mr. August Fishman by conducting experiments on rats up to 22 generations, 21 generations. He removed the tails of the rats, even though the rats are going to produce, are going to born with tails. So that is why August Fishman proved that bodily changes may not be carried to progeny. Progeny means what? Offsprings, next generation. So the bodily changes may not be carried. Only the change, if the change happens in DNA, then only the changes will be carried to the next generation. Next, Malthus. So Malthus also proposed a theory called as the Malthus theory. So according to Malthus theory, he proposed that the population is increasing in geometrical progression. Population is increasing in geometrical progression. That is what 1, 2, 4, 8. It is going to double. But the food source is going to increase in AP. Is nothing but arithmetic progression. What it is? Food source of the nature. AP is nothing but arithmetic progression. How it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like that it is going on. Next, Alfred Russel Wallace. Alfred Russel Wallace also published a note on Linnaeus Society. He published a short note on natural selection along with Mr. Charles Darwin. With whom? Charles Darwin. They published a note on Linnaeus Society, in Linnaeus Society. Next, if you see, the 8th chapter completed. Next, 9th chapter. In 9th chapter, our environment, we have only one scientist. He is Mr. Charles Elton. In the year 1927, Mr. Charles Elton proposed the ecological pyramids. He proposed the ecological pyramids. Already we know that ecological pyramids are again 3 types: pyramid of member, pyramid of biomass, and pyramid of energy. Was explained by Mr. Charles Elton in the year 1927. Thank you, and please subscribe my channel Surendrabiology.